Greetings, everyone, and welcome to an extra wretched edition of Monster Party.
Monster Party.
Monster Party.
Monster Party.
Antennas. Oh, it's otherworldly. It's what's happening? Who are these people on this planet? And how come they don't look very realistic? Huh?
Or they're just a little goofy looking.
Or does this planet not have a lot of money for their own costumes?
Speaking of not having money, who are you, sir?
Well, words have never been more true. I am Matt Weinhold.
I am Shawn Sheridan.
I am Larry STROTHE.
And I'm James GONIS.
Oh, yeah. And for this episode, this is going to be fun, right, Larry? Larry's already having a great time. You don't even need us anymore. You are like a human. You are like a personification of mushrooms. You've never even taken mushrooms, but you are mushrooms.
Because I'm a happy mushroom.
You are a happy mushroom. You are the giant Gila monster song about a mushroom.
But I'm excited because this is fun. We like
this is going to be fun. Yes, because I mean this is we've done worst monsters, and we've skewered some things in science fiction and horror over the years that we've been doing this show, but this is one I don't think we've done this specific thing. I don't think our laser point has been pointed in this particular direction. So let's have at it. What do you say?
Yeah.
The topic for this episode is worst aliens.
Worst aliens.
Oh, they're terrible. You get the good aliens and they look really nice and all the money went into them. And then you get these other aliens and they're not so good. And that's what the show is going to be. So let's go.
Matt, to do this show, we need someone who really knows aliens.
Yes, we do. And our guest for this show, oh my goodness me. Our guest is one of my oldest and bestest friends and has been a longtime pal of this show. Yes. Yeah. Yes. She's an award-winning producer, writer, actor, and comedian, and is a shining bright light in my life. Yes. Please welcome back the woman who puts the feck in Feklar, whatever that means. Sue Murphy.
Sue Murphy.
Thank you. It's great to be here. I've been waiting to, come back and see all of you, especially Happy Mushroom. And
of course.
I have for Larry, I have a mushroom joke. Larry, what do you call a happy mushroom with a very large penis?
I don't know.
A fungi to be with. Thank you. It's a classic.
It's just interesting. The comedy mind. It's just one of those things that you can't turn off. You're always working, even when you're at rest.
And it's a kid's joke, but it's an inappropriate kid's joke, and that's what I like about it.
Right.
And what's interesting? Sue brought up a really great, interesting thing. We could
about
do
jokes or mushrooms.
Well, we could do a whole episode about mushrooms in horror, science fiction, and fantasy, but that's for another show. That's for another show because yes, but this is all about worst aliens.
It is about worst aliens. But before we move on to that, I do want to say, Sue, that some of the filthiest jokes that I've heard in my life, I learned when I was, I think, about 7 or 8.
Yeah, just really awful.
Really, yeah. I mean, I
hate to open up with that. I just thought with Happy Mushroom being on the panel here.
But there was one, I think we even did a little, we shared some of these, but there was one where it was a Batman song. It was like the dirty Batman song. And it's not the one that most people know. It was Batman took her to the movies. Batman played with her boobies. Batman took her to my house. Batman put her on the couch. Batman put it in easy, pull it out greasy. Batman.
So
It was
worst
the,
I learned that when I was
monster.
8.
Worst
it
worst
was also
aliens.
the Dirty Adams Family song, which I
Okay.
think we turned Lisa Loring onto when she was on
Did
the
we?
show that she'd
Okay.
never heard of. Yeah.
And,
All right,
this is
okay.
great.
This isn't
This-
really, honestly, maybe we just sit here and sing dirty jingles.
No,
Yeah.
no, we're not going to do that. Because today it's all about
Larry's
worst
head will
aliens.
explode, and we can't do that. We need his head
No.
together
Do you
because
ever see
Comic-Con's coming up.
Scanners? You don't want that to happen.
No,
So
no,
worst,
no.
Worst aliens.
Worst
And look,
aliens.
Look, I'm just going to throw something at Sue here. You know,
Yeah.
Throw something at Sue.
Sue loves her science fiction. Sue, knows aliens, and so she's seen a lot of stuff. And I imagine that she's got some aliens that she goes, this just doesn't work. This doesn't fit, or this is ridiculous.
I bet we
Are
agree
you
on
are
a lot
you
of
passing
them.
the ball to me? Is that what this is the longest
Yes.
pass the ball ever?
That's what we do. We stretch it
It's
out.
like
Regular Joe, Mr. Mushroom.
Happy Mushroom. I don't know. See, I was thinking of worst aliens, ones that I thought were just it irritated me, or
It can be that.
were like
Yeah.
it wasn't about production value.
It can
was
be
more-
whatever.
Okay,
Whatever.
I'm gonna lead off with a big one. Jar
Throw it.
Jar Binks.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
okay.
My list.
Number
That
one.
is perfect.
Number.
Maybe
Jar
the worst alien of all time.
Jar Binks.
Well,
So,
that
of
has
course,
to be number one. I think
Well-
we all had that on our list, right?
So
Oh,
this
yeah.
is from Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, directed by George Lucas. And Sue, if I may,
Not
please,
familiar.
but just I don't want to interrupt. I just want to say in the last episode, I was angry, I was bitter, and I called George Lucas a hack. He's not a hack. He's a very talented filmmaker, but
Oh, is this the portion of the show where you do corrections from your last week's show?
That's what he does.
It's just,
Yes, right.
It's just because
Okay.
it was one of those things I was thinking about it, Sue. But here's the thing. The thing is I've worked with some people who worked on Phantom Menace, and they told me some stories. This is what happens when you have no one around you
Yes,
to
that's
kind of help
correct.
guide you or bounce things off. And I think this is what can go wrong. And Phantom Menace is a perfect example. He asked his little kid, "Hey, what should I call this creature?" And the kid goes, "Jar Jar Binks." And he goes, "Hey, that's great," And he
Right.
wanted to make this.
Which I've said for years, just stop listening to children. Don't-
Well, and the other thing is,
Not going to go well.
the goal was to make a full computer animated character. And it's like, so that was his goal.
Based on Step and
not-
Fetch It.
Well, I think unintentionally. But Sue, when you saw Phantom Menace, did that character just make you cringe every time?
Of course,
he
it's
showed
it's
up?
horrible, but I mean that's the thing too. Is it aside from the history behind it? It's like what is the thing specifically, Sue? That when you started watching, because this was like when I was watching the Phantom Menace, the music came on, and I was so ready to like this. I'm like, hey, Star Wars is back, and I got my popcorn, and I'm all regular Joe, and I got a mushroom, and I'm in it to win it. And then next thing you know, here comes Jar Jar. And there's that moment where you go, oh, okay. And then you just feel something starting to die inside you. This is beyond what I hated in the Return of the Jedi with all those Muppets.
Muppets.
This is like that.
Yeah, times 10.
But Sue, when you saw it, what did it just make you want to vomit? Or tell me.
What were your feelings? How did you feel?
I don't know.
Sue?
I just brought up Jar Jar Binks, and then I just let you guys run with it.
Well, no, but I want to know.
I mean, I have my thoughts, but you seem to have covered it.
No. I know that you have more thoughts about this.
What do you
Yeah,
feel about?
you know,
Do you,
you
do you
just,
think they were purposely trying to make it racist?
No. See, and Sue, this is what I hate. What I hate is Lucas is. It's almost like because he's made so much money, it's almost like he spits in the face of the fans of this content. It's almost like he didn't care because he didn't make it for those people. He made it for himself. Or if you were between the ages of 3 and 6. And the thing that gets me is he went to film school. He should know that, look, it's kind of like that Stefan Fetchit thing. It kind of like conveys like racist stereotypes. And also what Jar Jar Binks does is he helps defeat stuff by accident. So all the stuff that he does, it's not by having the power of the Force. It's
He's Forrest
slipping on
Gump.
something.
but
did you
way
guys,
more
as
annoying.
you were watching him during the whole battle, it's like I felt like an idiot. I felt stupid. I like, oh my God.
You felt stupid.
I felt like I was being made fun of by Lucas, and Lucas is laughing.
The only thing that you could feel stupid about is that you thought it was going to be good and you paid the money to see it. But who can blame you? You went to see a movie. You thought it was going to be good. And then they give you this one. And it seems like he learned his lesson, at least. He's never come back.
Well, rumor has it that he heard the hatred that everybody had for this.
Oh, really?
And so
how did he hear that? Oh, did anyone say it to him? Was it printed in print? Was it all over everything?
Yes,
did people send him hate mail? How did George clue in that everybody hated it?
But Sue, he could easily say, "Hey guys, stick this up your. I'm gonna
stick this up your thing.
Look,
spin it.
He could say,
up your Jar Jar Binks. This up your Jar Jar and make it.
Do you know what the working title for the second film was?
Bend over Jar Jar Binks.
Stick this in your jar.
It was close. No. If I remember correctly, it was something like the continuing adventures of Jar Jar Binks as an inside joke.
Oh, he's so funny.
You just don't get it. You just don't get it. And you know what's funny is I thought that would be the number one most hated character in the Star Wars franchise, but I guess it's not. But he's like top 2 or 3.
Would that be Jake Lloyd or whatever, or what? Who would?
Yeah, which is sad, and also the actor.
Can't blame him either.
And Sue, the actor who played Jar Jar Binks, the poor guy, he's doing what? Oh my God, George Lucas is telling me to.
He's doing what he was asked. Yes,
he's doing what the director tells him to do.
I just want to point out. I think it's interesting that Larry asked me what I think, and then he tells me.
Yeah.
Yes, I've noticed that.
I'm sorry, Sue.
Sue?
that actor who played Jar Jar got a lot of hate, and I heard that he considered suicide. He was so depressed about it. And now he's kind of had he's come full circle. He's been on some of the other Star Wars shows as different characters. And Jar Jar wasn't the only one in episode 1. There was Watto, the slave dealer and parts dealer, who was very controversial, anti-Semitic or anti-Arab caricature. There was Boss Nass, who was actually played by Brian Blessed, but came off as a very like Amos and Andy caricature. It just I think back on Star Wars when it came out in 1977, and you had these aliens that were, whatever they could cobble together on their budget, but it was charming, and most of them didn't speak. And then maybe by Return of the Jedi, it was a harbinger of things to come. But even those dopey Muppets didn't speak. Finally, when you get the CGI in Phantom Menace, we can give them personalities, we can give them voices. Yeah, but you didn't do it right.
Well, this is what bothers me about it, is Jar Jar Binks was an attempt to be funny in this environment.
Right.
He was brought in like comic relief when you don't need that in this environment. It's like, to me, that what makes things funny in the moments of Star Wars are people who are playing something straight in a ridiculous situation.
Right.
But now we're going to put, we got to have a goofy character who's going to be the weird thing. And that's what bothered me about it. It's like, stop trying to be funny, stick with the sci-fi, and it'll be funny because of the context.
It was like
character based. Yeah.
It was like throwing Inspector Clouseau into Star Wars.
Yeah. All of a sudden it's the bad comedy of this somewhat racist alien.
And that's the funny part too, is that I really don't think that George Lucas is a racist, but it is like, where did all this come from? Where you've got James just mentioned 4 instances where it a little creepy. Was he just, watching Turner Classic Movies and had it on in the background?
I think George Lucas had no clue that it was going to be a reaction to that. I think he thought he was putting something funny in.
I totally agree. I agree.
It was like, it's like the Disney movie that always has to have at least one sidekick, a dancing monkey who's really stupid.
Right.
It's like, stupid.
And remember the first Star Wars also had these kind of cute little creatures called Jawas, but they were nasty little fuckers. You know, and
Yes.
they were
Yeah.
cool because they didn't speak English. Little kids, I could see like they were funny, but they were a part of the story of what
And
they're
enigmatic too,
Yeah.
like
And
you
then,
weren't really sure what their deal was.
The Ewoks were, little fuzzy kind of cute characters, but they had the way they talked sounded like they were, like they're plotting behind your back, like,
a little bit, right? Yeah.
So anyway, I believe we can shut this show down because Jar Jar Binks is number one.
Well, and yes, and Jar Jar Binks, for the record, he is a Gungan, and he lives on the planet Naboo. If you
happen to be in that neighborhood, you might want to.
Well, if you've never seen the Phantom Menace and you've been thinking about it,
For those of you following along on your bingo board.
But Sue, wouldn't you agree? If you're going to show some kid the Star Wars legacy or whatever, you don't start with Episode 1. You start with that episode.
I wouldn't think
4.
so.
You don't even bother with those first 3. Don't even.
Well,
bother.
it's also when you start the whole Star Wars saga with a movie that's about trade disputes. First of all, right? The kids love trade disputes.
Remember those classic Flash Gordon serials all about Flash getting involved with trade disputes? They were great.
But now I think the seeds of this were born in Return of the Jedi because with Star Wars, delightful. I mean, I love, that's one of my favorite movies of all time. I think it's a pretty much nearly perfect action adventure science fiction movie. And then you've got Empire Strikes Back, which is technically wonderful, has no ending, but okay, still it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get to Jedi, and I'm watching it, and it's the same feeling that I got when I was watching The Phantom Menace. I'm watching this, hey, they're going to Jabba's domain, and then all of a sudden I see Max Rebo and his band, and my heart sinks, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? It's Kugla, Fran, and Ollie, kind of like what? It's puppets. And Max Rebo is too cute, and then they've got this singer that's like a weird puppet, but with these big lips.
That's Cy Snoodles.
Cy Snoodles. And then what's the guy who was in Jabba's lap? The little
Salacious Crumb. But
Salacious Crumb.
But you missed another character. See, you just went over 3.
I did, and I know, and he's got a name too.
Yeah, well, the third member of the Cy Snoodles band is Droopy McCool.
Droopy,
get a load of that, Droopy McCool, and
how terrible!
Here's what I love. For people who don't know, wait, Larry, which one is Droopy McCool? It's the character that looks like he's playing a clarinet, and he looks like those microscopic 8-legged tardigrades. It's those microscopic things that they're like microbes or something. They're like pudgy and they have a bunch of little legs. It's almost like Lucas looked at a microscope and said, hey, yeah, let's make something like that, life-size. He's playing a little clarinet. That would be cool. But
Droopy McCool. That is the name of a Hanna-Barbera cartoon character. That is not...
No.
Should not be in the Star Wars universe.
1972.
Yes, exactly.
Well,
it's terrible.
It's also a name of a Return of the Jedi character.
Well, I know that. What I'm saying is Jesus Christ, Larry. It's like that. Well, it sounds like a name of a Hanna-Barbera character.
What this is, Larry, let me explain. As a comedy foil, something you do is you use something that sounds like something in another place, and then you make a joke about that.
Gotcha.
Right. Yeah. Are you writing this down?
Hey, listen.
She's a pro.
I've got more bad aliens here. Who else has got a bad alien here?
You can see Sue is done talking about Cy Snoodles. I just wanted to say one more thing about Cy Snoodles.
Get it off your chest.
If you look at the Blu-ray special, the behind the scenes, and all this footage of Lucas explaining to people what he wants, it's documented. And he actually says, and then I want this character to have some like Mick Jagger lips. And think of it, you're the special effects guy, and you're listening to this, and you're thinking, this is the stupidest idea I've ever heard, but I'm working on George Lucas' movie, so it's got to be, okay, I'll put some Mick Jagger lips on this character. And also, I know how much you hated Jedi and Cy Snoodles. Then they do the the special edition.
Special
where
edition,
it's
right? Yes.
We were computer generated, and it's even worse.
It's even worse. Yeah. No, at least the puppet was somewhat charming.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Oh,
So just to piggyback on the racism, in 1967, in Lost in Space, the TV show Lost in Space, there's an episode called Castles in Space, which is about there's this frozen ice queen and she gets thawed out by the Jupiter 2 crew. And there's this like a bounty hunter kidnapper that's after her. And the name of this character is Chavo. Now, what Chavo looks like is imagine the Frito Bandido painted silver. And I'm not in any way exaggerating. Your caricature Mexican bandit, all in silver, silver face, silver everything.
What is this in, Matt? What is
this? This is in Lost in Space, in the television show Lost in Space.
Oh.
Not only do you have a shitty production value alien, let's double down with some Hispanic racism. And then let's also throw in he drinks tequila.
Oh.
And then he pours tequila in the robot and gets the robot drunk.
wow.
Now,
so
now you could just now spend an afternoon trying to make all that work in the script. Are Hispanic people from space? Is that what I'm getting from this? It's so
I hate to
confusing,
admit
Sue.
it, Matt, but I sort of want to watch this episode
Of
now.
course you do.
I'm
you do.
trying to find an image online of Chavo so I can make a T-shirt.
Matt, what was the date? The date on it?
1967. So this is this is like I think the second season or something like that.
In 67, wasn't there a popular brand of potato chips called Fritos?
Frito Bandito.
Frito Bandito. I remember as a kid watching the commercial, and I sang along the song with the Frito Bandito, and I didn't know any better.
But also this was a regular thing that Lost in Space did though too. If I'm not mistaken, they did there was like a space opera. If Chavo and Charo were in the same episode, that'd be some good times.
Coochie.
I would say with the exception of the cool giant Cyclops in Lost in Space, pretty much almost every alien character in the original Lost in Space TV show was kind of ridiculous.
Although I will give credit to the ones that were silly, but yet they made something. Like they made a head, they made a weird thing.
Yeah.
And yes, they looked very New Zoo Review, very HR Puffin stuff. And so, yes, but I thought it was funny every time they just went, fuck, we have no time. I'm going to spray you silver from head to toe.
I just looked up the Frito, the guy who invented Fritos. He was inspired to create a corn snack after seeing a Mexican man at a gas station fry corn chips.
Wow.
That's where the Frito Bandito came from.
Here you go.
So you've answered a lot of questions here.
I can rest comfortably tonight now.
1932, Larry. 1932, for those of you following along on your Frito bingo board, 1932.
But Sue, just because you come up with an idea and you go, hey, I'm going to create this, and sometimes it takes a while for it to get going. I'm just saying I remember the Frito Bandito commercial.
It was a big deal. Yes, it was a big campaign.
Of course.
Yes.
Fritos are great. They're still out there.
Yeah. The
Bandito. I like a Cheeto occasionally. I do like a Cheeto.
Wait, which kind of Cheeto? The puffy
not
ones
the
or the
fire
crunchy?
ones? Not the fire ones.
Not the fire ones, but do you like puffy or crunchy?
Cheeto. The original.
Cheeto. Okay. Crunchy. I like the crunchy.
So that's a great one, Matt. That's a really
Thank you very much.
Worst alien.
All right.
Hey, Sean, how about Sean? Why don't you give us one?
Well, I know we've talked about this film before, but this absolutely qualifies for me as a worst alien because there was a very popular movie in the 80s called E.T. And
easy.
And maybe the ultimate ripoff E.T. film was 1988, Mac and Me, which was not only the ultimate E.T. ripoff, but also the ultimate product placement film because the movie basically half the movie almost takes place in McDonald's and at a McDonald's. There's Ronald McDonald who shows up. Also, it's hugely product placement for Coke and for Skittles. And the movie is incredibly awful. It's basically alien.
What? Really?
an alien family is kind of sucked into this space probe, and the space probe comes back to Earth, and the aliens run around, and they're being pursued by the government. And this little alien kid is befriended by a kid in a wheelchair, and wackiness ensues. It's truly awful, but kind of like pretty entertainingly awful.
And that is one ugly alien too. If you remember his little pot belly and all bloated in his face and his little weird ears, and just
you need something like this.
You look, you gotta give
You have that figure? Where'd you get the figure?
I actually found at a toy show a customized Mac and Me action figure, which is pretty amazing. But
That's great.
You own a Mac and Me.
Yes, he does.
There it is. Look at that.
That's something that if I woke up in the middle of the night and saw it, scare the crap out of me.
Now, look, Sean, let's give the film a little bit of credit that, look, there's a little kid in a wheelchair. So, they're trying to be inclusive. So, come on.
That's nice.
Well, you know what? Yeah. If I was in a wheelchair, I'd want to be included in a better film.
Movie, but have to admit, like, it's a great party movie. It really is. So it's hilariously.
Remind me not to go to any of your parties.
No.
I tease. I kid. I know what he's talking about.
When next time we get together at Comic-Con, we got to put that film on.
Let's do it.
And Sean can do his reefer, and he can.
He can do his reefer. Can we also get McDonald's though? Because that's
we have to. We have to.
That would be awesome.
But also, if you're talking about product placements, what about the Reese's Pieces in
Skittles?
Oh, Skittles took the place of Reese's Pieces.
The Reese's Pieces in E.T. Isn't that Reese's Pieces?
Of course,
big time.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
It's so over the top, and the product placement is so over the top in Mac and Me to the point of insanity. And also, the movie is famous because every time Paul Rudd guest starred on the Conan O'Brien show, whenever he was promoting his next movie or TV show, he would say, let's show a clip. And he would show this famous scene in Mac and Me every time. He gets Conan every time. And it's hilarious.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
The movie's kind of legendary as being.
It is legendary, yes.
Yeah. Well, it's also the fact that if a movie makes a lot of money, like E.T. was like the highest grossing film of that time, there's like all these quickies that get rushed into production to try to capitalize on it.
Right.
It took Mac and Me 4 years.
1988 it came out. Yeah.
Well, maybe because it looked like he was preparing to fillet some gentleman the way his mouth is.
Well, come on, Sue.
No, Mac looked.
Sue, come on.
Mac would be an excellent blow-up doll for a certain gentleman.
Oh my God.
Oh, there we go. There's
go.
a market that hasn't been covered.
Well, look at his little face.
Yes, no, I have. Longingly.
So, Sean, this is what I want to ask you. I know. I think we've all seen Mac and Me. Would you suggest to listeners to see this film or just look at a clip on YouTube?
Absolutely watch it. Yeah.
Actually, you can look at a clip on Pornhub.
So, come on.
Watch the movie, get some McDonald's, smoke a reefer, and
smoke some reefer.
Yeah, there you go.
Pop some goofers.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what though? We're glossing over, because you brought up Mac and Me. We're glossing over what was on my list, which was E.T.
Wait.
Ooh. Okay.
E.T. Look, I respect the workmanship that went into E.T., but that is not one of my favorite aliens. It looks
state of the art, man.
It is a unpleasant looking alien. It looks like E.T.'s face looks like an aged boxer.
Hey,
he's got cauliflower face.
It looks like an aged penis. No, but that.
Well,
see, Matt,
I didn't want to say it, Jay.
I would, Matt, I would debate though that's part of the appeal of E.T. is that you could take such an ugly creature and still make a touching movie out of it.
Yeah,
I get it.
I feel sorry for it.
And this is this is a personal taste thing, because obviously many people love E.T. and I understand why.
Yeah,
but for me, I look at it and it
don't understand things.
Yes.
Yes.
But when I look at E.T., it kind of creeps me out and it bums me out. And
How
I
does it creep
can't.
you out?
But wasn't it known that one of the things I remember when it came out, it has to be about the eyes. And it's always about that's how you relate to this. And so they went overboard with it's like it's gotta be about the eyes.
So are you saying that an alien on another planet can't have big eyes, Sue? Is that what you're saying?
That's what you're
Yes.
saying.
Another
Yes.
That's exactly what I
That's
said.
exactly what you're saying.
Larry, you would.
No, I said in production they can't.
Larry, you should know this, but I thought like the eyes, like Spielberg designed the eyes off of like Albert Einstein's eyes or something. Like there was.
Oh,
Yes.
sure. Of course.
Yeah.
I saw. I can see that.
No. You're getting that mixed up. That was Yoda.
Yeah, what was it?
Oh,
That was what?
Yoda. Oh, okay.
Not
okay.
E.T.
Okay.
So what was he? So and
guys were-
E.T.
they were-
was
Modeled after Carl Sagan's eyes. I don't know.
You know, didn't you
I
guys
thought it was,
have like an ugly? Didn't you guys have
De
like, a
Niro in
stuffed
Raging
animal-
Bull.
The stuffed animal is maybe like a little beat up or a little, little ugly that you really attached to as kids.
Sure.
I didn't like the. I didn't like the head going up.
No ugly stuffed toys. No, sorry.
Yeah, I didn't
Of
like the. I
course.
didn't like the extendo head. That was a problem.
At
See,
the time, though,
it's an alien.
it was
It's
like
clever.
it was high tech though for its time though. The idea of like an alien creature that wasn't just a guy in a suit that was completely
Technically, it's great. I understand that. I'm telling you, it's a personal taste thing. Now, if we're talking the height of technology at the time, for a good version of that, I would go to Close Encounters. I thought those aliens looked real to me at the time that I saw it. Yeah.
I loved E.T.
Look, when I was 7 or whatever I was when I saw it, I enjoyed it too. It's just that is a movie that really doesn't hold up for me now. And I would show it to a kid, and I think they would have a blast with it.
You're talking about Close Encounters?
No,
E.T.
E.T.
I've seen Spielberg do that shtick way too many times that now it's so obvious that it's pulling on my heartstrings and all this stuff. And then on top of it, then you add the special editions, replacing everything with flashlights and
yes. Look, I just want to say in 1982, it was a very magical film, and E.T. spoke to me, and I really loved it. I have a bunch of little E.T. figures.
I know.
I still have my little E.T. vitamins that still have some vitamins in it.
Yeah, that's what keeps you fit.
No, I don't eat those. They're old now. But I think calling it a worst alien I don't think that's really fair.
It doesn't have to be fair because it's my opinion.
Yeah,
it is. I will say this one last thing. Just recently, guys, the actual one of the ET mechanical things came up for auction.
Yeah,
and they were thinking it's from one of the most popular films ever made. It's going to sell for $500,000, but it's made with a special kind of rubber and latex. And what happens to this over a period of time?
Right.
It starts to deteriorate. So when they showed it and his eyes are like kind of like half open and he's peeling and stuff, it looked frightening. It looked like E.T. had just been in a nuclear accident.
That's what I want. That's the one. That's the movie I want to see.
Yeah.
He was horrified. And
E.T. has survived a house fire.
That's what it looked like.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, it's like, the problem with all those effects and stuff, the material was never expected to last. And so, of course, you're going to get stuck with this mechanical thing that doesn't look like the character that you saw in the movie.
It's like, does anyone else smell burned rubber? Anyone smell burned rubber? Oh, no, E.T.'s here. Oh,
okay. Well, Matt did E.T. James, I want to know, you tell us the worst alien.
Well,
You're chomping at the bit.
I don't think we shit on Lucasfilm nearly enough. So I'm going to go to one of the most anticipated sequels in history, Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull. Which Steven Spielberg came out and said he wanted to make an homage to the fun sci-fi movies of the 50s, as opposed to the serials of the 30s and 40s, which the other Indiana Jones movies were. Well, there's nothing I can say to deride the movie any more than has already been said, except when it comes to the aliens, you've got this sort of Peruvian, a temple, and finally everybody's in there, and you've got these alien skeletons, and there's these crystal skulls, which you would connect one to one of the skeletons, and then the aliens and this was something I had to rewatch because I saw it in the theater. I didn't remember any of this. But all the alien like spirits merge into one actual flesh and blood alien, which looks a lot like the Close Encounters alien, only
Right.
nasty. And ends up
Nasty, like
killing-
sexy nasty, or like
no, just like mean looking face.
okay.
But James, was
and-
it physical or was it more like a ghost thing? I can't really remember either. Like, was it like
You
was
know what
actual
the thing is?
corporeal?
It doesn't. For a
It doesn't
minute
matter.
it was. For a minute.
Who cares?
Yeah, and then vaporizes Kate Blanchett. Spoiler.
Yay!
And then
I mean,
Yeah.
but the thing is, it's like I don't know. Spielberg, kind of has a history with aliens and has a history
he
with
does.
fun movies. You think, okay, maybe something fun is going to happen, something different. The whole thing just implodes in CGI hell, and just terrible, totally wasted, and maybe among the worst aliens that I've ever seen in a movie.
Wow.
A letdown for the big ending.
Can I, if we're going to go down the shitting on Lucasfilm,
Go.
how about Howard the Duck?
On my list, too.
Oh my
That's
gosh,
a good one.
Sue.
That is a really
Yeah.
good one.
Howard the Duck.
I didn't even
is
think of
a
that
duck,
one.
a duck from Duck Planet or Planet
Yeah,
Ducker.
Planet Duckulon.
and he had human arms and legs.
1986.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wasn't really a duck, right? Didn't he have like
Well,
human arms and legs?
it was from a planet where ducks evolved into more humanoid-like creatures. Now, I never read the Marvel comic, which I heard was kind of maybe good. It
It
was
was
kind
brilliant,
of
actually. Was actually really funny and great.
and they
Little
decided,
racy.
and they
Yes, it
decided,
was. Yes.
And wasn't this one of the first Marvel movies? I think it was the first one.
Well, one of the
You might have something there.
Wow.
I think so. I think it was the first one because it was and it
Theater,
was such a-
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. But they decided to make it just simply into a wacky comedy for kids, which the comic wasn't, right, Matt?
Well, as Larry said, it was racy. It was kind of counterculture, almost like it had the vibe of like an underground comic because
It's like a Fritz the Cat kind of thing.
yeah, because
Mild.
he's actually dating a human woman
Right.
in the
Right,
comic.
and he also is sarcastic and
Yeah, and he
all
and
those
he's-
things, and then they
yeah,
took
and
that
he-
away from him.
Yeah, they made him cute and they gave him this soft, family-friendly voice. And it's just a misfire from every direction. And many of our friends, Sue and I, our friends, many of them
Worked
were
on
in
that.
it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because we're all from San Francisco and we're all working with Lucasfilm. I mean, that's why I did all
Yeah.
the stuff with the Ewoks.
Wait, Matt, was it you? Were you in?
I was
were
in the
you
audience.
You
I
were
was in the audience
You
for
were
the
in
concert.
film. Yeah.
But I think Steve Kravitz was in it because that was
There's a bunch of people, and then
Yeah.
I did some
Nick
work
Proops
on
was in
set
it,
that
too.
wasn't in it.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I will say that in a little bit, the MCU kind of redeemed him a little bit.
It's better. It's better.
Howard the Duck cameos in a couple of the Guardians of the Galaxy films,
Yeah.
and you kind of go with it. It kind of works for that, but
And it's small doses too.
yeah, but as an entire feature film, and it was a notorious bomb. It was like
Well,
Huge.
and what's interesting for listeners, if you weren't around at that time, or if you were too young to remember, the previews for the film actually showed George Lucas, who was an executive producer, saying how much they loved working with the duck. And then it showed all these clips of the film where you saw maybe the shadow of the duck or maybe
Teasing it.
just a little bit of his bill. And in other words, they were doing all this big tease. They were
Right.
doing everything they could to show anything but the main character.
Yeah. And what's ironic though about it is that I actually really like the monsters that show up at the end that were coming through the portal.
The monsters are cool.
Cool,
Yeah.
crap, like giant
Lovecraftian. Yeah, right.
They're like stop motion, really cool. So you had those cool monsters. They're like the bad, evil monsters coming to take over the earth.
I'm
And then you
trying
had
to
the-
remember if it was Greg Proops who told me that I think he had a
worked
couple
on
of
it.
days. He was on it.
Really?
Yeah,
And he was with-
he's in it. Yeah.
He was with someone. They were taking a break, and he saw Lucas and what was the director? Was it
William Hayek.
I
don't
never
know.
know how to say his name, but
Yeah.
but anyway, but he saw like they were just kind of in the background and nobody knew they were there, and they caught a little session of Lucas just bawling him out.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So that had to have been a lot of fun on that set.
Wow.
But also, wasn't there someone? I remember stories coming out of that because he was in a physical costume.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the poor person in that
Actor, yeah.
costume that they would have to stop, and you'd be on set and they're taking the duck's head off, and it took forever, and it's all sweaty, like going, oh, holy shit.
Yeah.
And, so not only is it, everyone's not happy on this, Tim Robbins is wondering what he's done with his career. He's going out to do more cocaine. That guy did more blow. He's out of there. And then there's this poor human being who's just sweating his life away in this duck costume.
Well, what about the actress? Was that
Leah Thompson?
Leah Thompson, yeah.
I mean, she thought her career was over.
It's the only, if you're going to watch it, just watch her.
She thought her career
she's
had.
cute,
She
but-
thought her career had ended. She thought her career had ended.
I could
And-
see that. It was such
you
a
know-
monumental bomb too.
Yeah.
I wonder, and Matt, I wonder if they stayed with the true essence of what made that comic special.
Yeah.
I
Forget
agree.
about making it family friendly. Go ahead and push that envelope and make it more of an R thing. Maybe that's what or PG-13.
Yeah, and it
Well,
couldn't
that's
have
what
been
they
like
should have done.
and
That's
it
what they
couldn't
should have
been
done.
some
But
big budget sci-fi thing. It would needed to be a little more stripped down, a little more raw.
I agree.
Can you
Yeah, I
guys
agree.
imagine the pitch session when someone's saying, look, kid, people are going to see E.T. We got to make this kid friendly. Look, it's a funny doc. Kids will love it. Can you see that?
I'll bet I bet you initially the thrust was to make it more like the comic book. And people came in and went, well, E.T. is really popular and the kids like the cute character and now it's a movie for no one.
Yeah.
Right.
Who would watch that?
Was there Howard the Duck merchandise, action figures?
I don't
There,
think so.
there,
Not that I can
there's-
recall.
But what they did do is do you remember the little candy heads? They did a Batman. I have a Howard the Duck candy head.
Really? Wow.
It's still in it. Yeah.
That's
No, because Sean, no one wants it. You
No, I
put
know,
Howard the
I know.
I
Duck
want
shit
it.
up on eBay. Nobody. No, you don't.
Yes,
You
I
don't
do.
want it.
Well, not that one.
Oh.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, yeah. Anyway, Howard the Duck. That's a
great one.
That's a
That
great
is
word.
a
there
great
is
one.
a Howard the Duck action figure.
Really?
I think it's more currently done.
A new one. Yeah,
that's
no, I have that
Marvel
one.
Legends.
Yeah, I have
Marvel
that
Legends.
one.
Okay, that's probably from the
It-
Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
came.
It came with Silver Surfer.
Right.
Oh, cool.
No,
See,
it's
James
got
and I,
some-
we shop at the same places.
Look, we've been shitting all over the Star Wars universe and the Lucas universe. I'm going to shift gears a little bit, if that's
And
okay.
then we'll come back to it. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Now, look, and I think Sue would agree with me that.
Oh yes, whatever you say, Larry. Whatever you say.
well, Sue, bear with me.
Well, I want you to
Okay.
Sue-splain for me.
When you create a
Yes.
universe where you have
Yes.
multiple films or multiple TV
Uh-huh.
shows, obviously,
Yes.
you need to have a lot of different aliens. So
That is
sometimes-
correct. Yes.
Yes, let's say in the wonderful world of classic Star Trek, for example, where you need basically an alien every week kind of a thing.
Sure.
There is one particular episode that when I see it, I think it definitely falls in the category of a worst alien.
You're talking
And I'm-
about classic Star Trek.
Classic Star
Classic
Trek.
now.
The
Okay.
episode from the first season from 1966, The Enemy Within. This is the one where the transporter goes nuts. Captain Kirk is beamed up, and he's I got to go to the sick bay. So Sky takes him to the sick bay, but then a moment later, another Captain Kirk comes in. It's basically split
Right.
him into two: an
It's a good
evil and a
episode.
good.
Yes,
Yeah.
because he can't be captain without his evil side.
That's
Right,
he needs to- right. learn
Do
something.
you remember? There's a
Yin
little.
yang.
But there's this little creature, and it's basically
Yes.
the dog alien. And what,
Yes, that's
what
great.
it is, it's a dog. It's someone went
poodle.
to, hey, it's
Yeah, it's a space poodle.
well, it's a dog that they put a little costume on that has a little horn and antenna.
Right?
And quite honestly, it looks like he's drugged or something.
Yes,
but
probably.
it's like they say when they beamed the dog down, they came back in two different. There's a good one and then an
Right.
evil one. But even the evil one to me still kind of looks. They filmed him like barking, and Dr. McCoy's all, they're or Scotty's like,
Yeah, he's like a little unicorn.
he's a
Yeah,
Yes, yeah.
And-
That's a
and
really
I-
good choice.
Or
I
like
love
a
that
little-
one.
Or like
as
a little
a
Datu.
kid, I'm just, Sean, look, I know, but it's like, as a kid, I thought, they just put a costume on a dog.
No,
That's
it was stupid even if when you were a kid.
But Larry, wouldn't you kill to have a little plush figure of the dog now, though?
See, yes, Sean, I would, but I'm just saying, as a worst alien, I thought, is that the best you guys can do? You couldn't do like a puppet, which been, I don't know, something like, but
Well, Larry, if we're going to go to worst aliens in Star Trek, how about tribbles? You know, they're a great idea, but it's just, you know, listen, someone's got a shag rug. Let's just cut it in pieces and wad them up together. And then we hold them and go, listen, do they feel them purring? And then, you know, like, oh, the trouble with tribble. There's so many of these balls of, it's like someone cleaned out their lint tray and said, here you go. We just cleaned the lint tray out of this and said, well, what do we have our budget for aliens? It's like, well, we don't have a budget. It goes,
well, that's it.
Go home to their dryers, clean out their lint trays, and that's not going to invade the ship.
Look, actually, from the production side, that's a genius.
No,
it is. Yes, it is.
You're starting to sound like my mom, because in reality,
yes, Larry, pipe down.
No, they're not little balls of lint. They're fuzzy. They're fuzzy, and it's like they made a ton of those fuzzy things.
I understand, Larry,
and I think they're cute. I think they're clever. It's charming. It's and Sue, they put a little mechanical thing in one, and it kind of walked a little bit. Do you remember that?
It did. What it did is it just had moved back and forth. And here's the thing, Larry, I brought this up because you had just said, oh, they just put a costume on a dog. Well, a tribble is, they just took this little thing and made it, said it was an alien. It's the same thing. The thing with Star Trek is all of their aliens were low budget.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go through, if you're going to complain about budgetary things, Star Trek is every time you turn around, it's another low budget alien.
But so, you know, but
are you suggesting that I can't go over my list? Most of them are Star Treks. I was going to.
Oh, you know on your list. The Gorn, who I love the Gorn, but that is a horrible rubber suit.
No,
but see, I would disagree with that. I would disagree with that. I would say that is a cool rubber suit. For the time.
Yes.
But it wasn't made for movement. That's the problem.
Well, that's why. And he's supposed to be threatening. And it's like, I have an idea. I'm just going to fake left. All right.
That made sense. He's a slow lizard guy.
They're not slow.
It was hot. It was Vasquez rocks.
Hot, but
when a lizard wants to move, they can move. You ever try to catch a lizard?
Look, if it was my turn, I'm just saying the little dog alien creature and the enemy within. There's my
Larry. Let me jump on that a little bit. No. Related to that, because that opens up the whole thing of we're gonna take a real life animal and we're gonna put something on them, and now they're.
Yeah.
And so I agree with you. I think that's a great choice. And there are so many like that across science fiction history. Again, Lost in Space.
Oh,
Penny Robinson or whatever. Didn't she have like a chimp with the weird head?
Yeah.
The gloop.
Yeah, it was It was an actual chimp that they put a headpiece on, and it was like her cute little, and luckily it was a young enough chimp that it didn't rip off Penny's face halfway during the mission.
But because you don't want them to basically bite off all your fingers and toes in your nose.
No, although that is the Lost in Space episode I was waiting for.
I was insulted by that episode.
Yeah,
I was insulted.
That's always weird. It's like the Killer Shrews, where they put a Halloween mask on a dog.
Right.
Which was not an alien, but
it's not an alien, but you know what I'm talking about.
Same concept, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right. If we're talking about vintage sci-fi TV shows, talking about Star Trek, talking about not having the budgets to make cool aliens, but I would say in a different way, the second season of Space 1999.
Here we go.
Many things went wrong with that season, but the new character that they introduced was an alien character named Maya, and this is a worst alien, in my opinion. Not because of the actress played by Catherine Shaw. I think is very appealing, very beautiful. I've seen her other things.
And a good actress.
Yeah, but the idea of Maya is that she's from some other planet where she's a shapeshifter. She can turn into anything. But what they do is they have her either turn into boring animals from Earth, like she turns into a tiger or a wolf. Or a monkey. Like, why is she turning into species from the Earth? Makes no sense. Or they have her turn into the most ridiculous looking man in suit alien monsters. And what's so strange is Space 1999 was always known for such amazing aesthetic effects, beautiful production design, beautiful miniature work, beautiful wardrobe. Everything about it aesthetically was great, except for in the second season, the worst looking, goofiest looking monster aliens you've ever seen, worse than even anything in Star Trek, which is almost 10 years earlier. For some reason, they are just all so terrible. And there was one particular alien they just reused. They kind of put horns on it, and it was just awful. So every time Maya turned into an alien or other aliens they would meet and encounter in the second season were always god awful.
They were silly looking,
laughable. And so they stick out like a sore thumb, like I said, because everything else about the look of the show was really cool.
Was really slick, and they got a lot of bang for their buck when it came to production value.
Yeah, but Maya, it was an ill-conceived concept. And they didn't use her well. It was just kind of like trying to do a Mr. Spock for the show.
Yes, sexy Mr. Spock, and they were just throwing stuff against the wall. They were hoping that
First off, wait, I need to jump in here. Mr.
Yes,
Spock
please.
was sexy. No,
big time.
no, I mean, what do you need?
Yeah,
a different flavor of sexy.
Yes.
I think one of the aliens on Star Trek. This has nothing to do with production values. The worst ones was the episode Spock's Brain, where the women that ran the planet.
Yes.
And they stole Spock's brain because they needed a brain to run the planet. And
that
I
makes
just thought
sense.
I would have liked to sat in on that writers' meeting and how they came up with those women. And they had those great, they had those great vinyl boots and the little mini skirts and the baby. And there's the classic.
They weren't that
line
stupid.
where Kirk is looking at her going, I need, the Spock's, you've taken her brain. And where I believe the lead woman looks at me and goes, brain, what is this brain?
Yes.
And I think that particular alien seemed to be, I don't know, presenting a worldview that I thought was interesting.
It was the battle cry for the sexual revolution.
It was.
I felt brain, what is brain?
Hey, listen, Captain Kirk would have gotten Me Too'd out of the Federation in 2 seconds.
Oh my God, yes.
That guy, that lecherous space fuck, what was he doing out there just looking for, he's looking for space.
And also, and by the way,
time.
the diseases he must have, like,
oh my God.
The shit that would eat through a condom in space.
Oh my God. Just that lizard, lizard lady alone. God knows what that did to his man area.
No wonder his best friend was Bones.
I know. He's like, hey, Bones, you got to come up with something, man.
I've got
Gorn syphilis, and
oh my God,
it ain't getting any better.
I agree.
Lined up at sick bay, everybody's sitting there itching their general areas.
Right. He's like he's like a paint sample of STDs all over his body of just every. Oh yeah, no, that was a Klingon. Yeah, that was
that was the Orion girl.
There's the episode with the hippie guys that are looking for,
bad aliens. There we go.
Oh boy, you don't think those guys were carriers? Those guys were carriers.
Well, okay, so we're talking about classic Star Trek, The Way to Eden.
The Way to Eden
from 1969.
Oh,
this is directed by David Alexander.
The Way to Eden.
And it's funny, Sue, one of those characters, one of those kids in that group, it's the Cthulhans. And the Cthulhans, there's an ambassador, and one of his son is in that group. And so it's like that character, it's like the alien, basically he's like half bald, and he's got purple hair and big bushy purple eyebrows, and they painted like grapes on his forehead. And you're right, Sue.
And he's got cauliflower ears.
No, that's Dr. Severin.
Oh, that's Dr. Severin.
This is one of his followers. And the character's name is Tongo Rad. And he was the son of an ambassador. And that's the whole reason why they're told, look, treat these guys with respect. Because the son is, and I just think that's the best you could do, is just the half bald head. It's like, just shave his head off.
Hey, Larry,
Yeah.
I worked with that actor.
Yes, I have his name.
I can't remember it.
Pitt.
Played by Victor Brandt.
Yes.
Brandt.
And I worked with him. I worked with him on a Roundup commercial.
Wow.
No, that was him.
Yes. And so I'm with him and I'm starting to talk about, there's a lot of downtime when you're doing one of those things. And we're just chatting and I'm talking about, oh yeah, I'm a big Star Trek fan. He goes, oh, well, I was in the original Star Trek. And he pulls out of a briefcase, like a bunch of pictures of him from the show. Two different characters. One was like a red shirt ensign who I don't remember, but then the other one was that guy. And he's like, and I'll sign one of these for you. And it's like, boy, it didn't take much to get
But did you got one, right, though, didn't you?
Oh, absolutely. And I got him to sign his red shirt thing too. And then he also did a voice in the Superman animated. And he had a headshot for that too. And he had them all with him.
Wow.
Did he sign any of the Roundup? Did he just sign one of the Roundup containers?
Matt, he
knows what his calling card is. At least he knows.
Right. Let's not make fun.
He does.
Look, he's a working actor, and it's like that helps promote his brand.
Sure.
And look, I applaud him for that. That's what you need to do, Matt. That's what you need to do. Matt,
he was a nice guy.
Yes, but you should have a briefcase.
Good self-promoter, obviously.
You should have a briefcase full of pictures like, here's my Roundup commercial.
Should I?
In the Roundup.
Should
here's
I
my
really,
McDonald's.
Larry?
Well, guys, but we should also next
that
Halloween,
has a possibility of backfiring on you. I'm just saying.
But guys, next Halloween we should all cosplay as the space hippies from Way to Eden.
No.
Yes,
no.
we should.
Comic-Con.
Learn the songs, play them all. We should do that.
Stepping into Eden.
Sue, when you saw that episode, were you like, did it just make you embarrassed to watch that?
I was a child. I wasn't thinking that way. It was just Star Trek was one of my favorite shows when I was a kid.
Yes, but even as a kid, you were sharp and intuitive. You probably said, "Oh, that's insulting," or you're trying to be all hip. No, okay.
Sue, Larry.
Yeah, I mean,
Larry,
you're just like Star Trek. I wasn't sitting there trying to analyze I mean, honestly, you were filtering it through our adult experience, and you go back. Oh yeah, the Federation was. They were trying to be, not. Collecting crap. It didn't matter. It's like, you have zero belongings, and that's not what we're trying to do. You don't know that when you're a kid. You're just watching it.
You're just,
I'm just saying,
it's all pretty colors, and it's it's everybody acting their asses off in their big Star Trek way.
I just thought,
but I have to point out though, you have to understand, Sue. Larry gets furious when watching the Groovy Ghoulies.
Oh my God!
And I am not the Groovy Ghoulies.
I get so angry.
They were like the monster Archies,
right?
And he hates them because he thinks they're mocking monsters.
Yes, insulting. They're insulting.
God forbid.
And not only they're insulting on one level, but then the animation is so limited and so bad it insults you a second time. In fact, a third time. It's an animated cartoon. They actually did a live action thing because they didn't want to spend the money for the animation. That just shows even triple insulting.
Yeah, I didn't. Star Trek, I was like, it's kindergarten or whatever. It's like, here's a little kid. I wasn't like, wow, that's a sexist moment right there with, where's my mom?
No, see, so I didn't say that. I'm just saying these guys who are playing this song, going back to Eden, yay, brother. Look, I went to private school. I just sing in church and stuff, and I just looked at this, and this is ridiculous. I'm just
because
it was
you
just
sang
odd.
in church. This was ridiculous.
Okay, just
no. I understand what you're saying, Larry. I'm just saying I was so young. I was so young. You're just watching a goofy show.
I'm older than you. So there it is. I was more, I don't know. I was insulted. That was insulting. And getting back to worst aliens, those guys were worst aliens.
They were bad. We have to stick with Star Trek then, because I need to jump forward a little bit.
It's turning into a George Lucas Star Trek.
But there's it's so rich, it's so rich with material. And so this is the thing that gets me about Star Trek sometimes. Now you had in Star Trek, especially when they were doing the Next Generation, you had to quickly come up with something to differentiate an alien culture. So sometimes they would just put a different ridge on your nose.
It's
or on
always your
ear.
forehead right here.
Yeah, your forehead or your eyebrows or whatever, something like that. And you're like, okay, now you're this race of aliens, okay?
Yeah.
But sometimes they would do things like they wouldn't even do like Deanna Troi, it just looks like a woman, you know?
Right.
But my favorite one
And
was
a
in
very lovely lady she is.
Oh my God.
Yes,
you know, I just want to
yes.
lay my head in her lap and make the world go away.
I'm gonna lay my head in
Marina's
Elvis's
Imagine
voice.
Riker climbing all over.
Oh,
Oh God,
man. I want to
That
do
makes me
that.
sick.
Greek American.
But now,
That's
but-
offensive.
Riker?
No, Marina Sirtis. Greek
Oh,
American.
okay, yeah.
Why'd you
But,
go so
she's
specific?
gorgeous, she's beautiful, but in
Lovely.
Star Trek the
Lovely,
Motion Picture,
Lovely individual.
Star Trek the Motion Picture, we had the character of Ilea, who
Yeah.
was a Deltan.
Yes.
Right.
And
yes.
her thing was, so she's an alien. And how did
Yeah.
we show that she's an alien? She's bald.
Oh yeah.
Nate O'Connor is an alien.
Oh, how do we know if someone's an alien? Oh, they're bald as a cue ball.
Persis
And-
Kambatra.
Kambata.
Kambata.
And she's gorgeous. And I like
Lovely.
the character she plays in the movie.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's kind of a lazy alien
Yeah,
job.
you're right. Especially for like the first Star Trek movie, like do something. a little-
Right.
How about a couple antennae or something like that?
Oh, they did have her. She
something.
did the voice. The voice, you know.
The voice was cool.
Well, that's after she goes through the
That's when
V'ger thing.
She gets-
that's
yeah, they
the
modulate
probe.
it.
That's
Yeah,
that's
you
the
know-
reproduction of her as a probe from V'ger.
Yeah. What is kind of sad is when she knew that as an actress, she knew that the character had to shave her head. When it came time, she waited to the last possible minute before they started shooting to do it. But when they said, okay, it's time, she asked for all the mirrors to be removed from the makeup room. And
Yeah.
she cried because she had a beautiful head
Good
of hair.
Lord.
Well, and then they had to shave her head twice a day because she would have
Yeah,
little
to make it
stubble
look-
that would come
But she has
up.
beautiful features. Like she looks.
She does.
freaking, bald.
She had a
Oh,
beautifully
we're
shaped
so
head.
sorry we're putting you in a movie.
Well, also that's taking a big risk because you don't know the shape of that head.
True.
That is
You're
right.
right.
The day
No.
you're
That's a
shooting,
good point.
there are people who shave their head, and then you go, "Oh no, 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 no!
Yeah.
Oh no,
I-
no, no, no! Your head, you actually." She would have looked more like an alien if she had like one of those weird folds in the back or whatever.
Yes.
And
yeah.
I think that was a risky move on the production company.
Yeah.
This is what
Yeah.
you know. What I bet this is what would have happened if they realized that they saw that she had funky bulges on the back of her head. They go, you know what? Let's go with it. Let's put a series of ridges, along the center.
let's
to
attract
make it
attention to them.
Right.
But,
But is there any other weird aliens besides
Wait,
Star Trek ones?
Wait! I'm not finished talking about her though.
He has to talk
I-
about.
Sorry,
yeah.
sorry.
I will say.
How dare
that-
you?
No, I'm just saying there was a beautiful set of figures, toy
Yes.
figures made back in 1979, and which I have both. The little miniature one and the 12-inch one. But the funny thing about the 12-inch one is when you compare her size next to Kirk and Spock and Decker and stuff, her
She's taller.
legs are incredibly longer than
And she's
the
wearing
guys'
high
legs.
heels too, right?
And she's wearing high heels, and her dress goes all the way up to,
Mhm.
high thigh.
She had legs in the film. I mean,
When you're in space, high heels are the most practical
Of course.
footwear.
Yes. Right.
For just for working in an environment that could be precarious. You
Gravity.
should always be in and we've learned that also in Jurassic Park 5 or whatever that one was.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Where what's her face is wearing high heels everywhere around with the
Right.
lizards.
right.
In space, no one wants to see your flats.
No one wants
But-
you. We need a little bit more of a nice shapely calf.
But
Thank
Matt, I
you.
would agree she is a worse alien. But they're trying to make her as appealing as possible. But I agree. Can they do
As an
something more than-
alien.
as an alien?
From the
I
alien
agree.
standpoint, yes. Does somebody else want to throw in one that's not Star Trek? James?
No, you keep going.
Hey, remember Battlefield Earth?
I was just about to say that.
No.
Oh,
Battlefield Earth. They
Yeah, what
were
was
the
what was
worst.
the time of that?
They were called the cyclos.
It was the cyclos.
Yeah.
And they had the thing stuck up their nose, and they had the
dreadlocks or something.
Yeah.
See, guys, I didn't see the movie because I heard it was so bad.
You have to see it.
Well, Matt, I'm just saying that, I heard the movie was so bad. It was based on this terrible novel, and it was, L. Ron Hubbard type of thing. And it's like,
that's another kind of party movie, though. It's so bad. It's fun if you're in the right mood.
I'd rather do Mac and Me, man.
A train wreck.
Well, yeah, I saw it in the theater with Rick Overton.
Oh.
And it was great. And we were having a good time with it. And at the end of the movie, Rick turns to me and says, "Now there's a plan 10."
Oh, gotcha.
Now, did you know going into the movie it was going to be that bad and you just went for a laugh?
Well, we assumed that it was going to be bad. I mean, how good can a Scientology science fiction movie be?
Yeah, the word of mouth spread pretty quickly that it was bad and it bombed. Yeah.
And the book, I actually I read a good amount of that book, and it is bad.
Really?
It's like it was written in like 1938.
And Sue, you saw this?
Yeah.
You saw it, Sue?
I haven't seen all of it. I just know the way the aliens were represented were bad aliens. I don't think I sat through the whole thing. I think I watched half of it and forget it.
Yeah.
So it was John Travolta playing one of these aliens, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
John
Travolta was the big name in it.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it's the year 3000.
Wow.
So, and wasn't he
in the year 3000?
So they were giants, and they had things in their noses. They're kind of like Dune, like the little thing in their nose, and then they have dreadlocks, or is that?
Like breathing apparatus, whatever, right?
Dreadlocks and all this sort of thing, and they had all that stuff going on. And of course, it's one of those, the planet, the Earth has been, we just blew ourselves up, and they're now taking over it, and they're mean and stupid.
Yeah, they're bad people, and now it's a revolution. It's Barry Pepper's gonna take back the Earth from Forrest Whitaker and John Travolta. Good luck with that.
So if I went to McDonald's and got to McDonald's and watched it, would you recommend that, or stick with Mac and Me?
Well, that's a good double feature right there.
There you go.
I did get a lot of laughs out of it, I have to say. It was a good time at the theater. I don't think for the reasons that they wanted. But
Matt, what if you're like a regular Joe like me?
A regular Joe,
quick-witted like you, and comedy.
They had popcorn there, so you should have loved it.
You would have been a happy mushroom.
You would have been the happiest mushroom in all of the cow pie.
I'm never going to read L. Ron Hubbard's science fiction, but I've always wondered, even in his science fiction, is he pushing Scientology ideology?
It's not that obvious, in my opinion. It came off more as just horny sci-fi than it did a big push of Scientology.
All right.
But James,
that's how I reacted to it. But
why don't you give us another worst alien?
Lawrence Kasdan was a filmmaker who I had a lot of respect for. He wrote Raiders of the Lost Ark. He co-wrote Empire Strikes Back. He did Body Heat. Big Chill. He did good movies, and he was a very capable filmmaker. And in 2003, he made a big budget sci-fi adaptation of a Stephen King bestseller called Dreamcatcher. Dreamcatcher, which was one of the very few Stephen King alien invasion stories. This big, fat novel. And I had read it, and is one of the reasons I kind of stopped reading most of Stephen King's stuff, because it was just so completely uninspired. I mean, he threw a lot of things in there, references to things he had before, like It, where you have adults who are dealing with something traumatic that happened in their childhood, and then they reconvene. But this time, the adults, it's four friends who are men, and they go on a hunting trip, and nearby there's another hunting trip that's been infected by aliens, and the aliens take them over, a la John Carpenter's The Thing, and implant these aliens in their bodies. And King must have had influence by The Thing, because it was all in the winter and there's snow and you don't know who to trust or who's been infected. Now, the aliens themselves they're CGI and they're faithful to the book in this movie, and they're creepy. I mean, they're effective. They're these sort of eel creatures with really sharp teeth. And then there's a master alien, which isn't as interesting. But the whole point of the thing is it's meandering. It goes absolutely nowhere. There's nobody to really root for. I never cared in the novel. I never cared in the movie. And the movie cost like over $60 million and it barely made that back. And it basically destroyed Kasdan's film career.
Wow.
No.
Yeah. And I don't know why Kasdan banked so much on this movie. And it's got a good cast: Damian Lewis, Morgan Freeman, Thomas Jane, Donnie Wahlberg. But it was just one of King's worst books. So there was no point in banking so much on it. So again, the aliens themselves aren't that bad, but the whole story is just terrible. There's nothing to it. And
the reason why they're there is really the bad part.
The reason why they're there is to kind of take over the earth, and the way that they do it is that they have these offspring that they want to release into the water supply, and the offspring are truly, horrifying. And then they also, again, a la The Thing, take over these characters, so you don't know who to trust, but you just never care. And King was run over by a van in the year 2000, and he was recuperating by his own admission, he was high on OxyContin. And that was when he wrote Dreamcatcher.
Oh my
So this
God.
is not the movie you want to bank your career on.
Oh,
Kind of revealing.
I thought you were going to say you was run over by someone who hated Dreamcatcher so much. Is that Stephen King? Fuck you, your Dreamcatcher.
No, because then he could never leave home.
Oh.
Anyway,
I never seen the film, but wasn't there something? I thought I read something where people were talking about the aliens come out of people's asses or something.
Yes.
Wait,
what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
It's got that sort of scatological, unlike an alien where they come out of the chest. Here they come out of the ass.
That's right at Matt's.
Well, I mean,
happens to me every day. Every day.
I mean, come on. I mean, it's the path of least resistance.
It's Mr.
Not only that, but
Centipede over here. Come on.
The screenplay was written by William Goldman.
Oh my God! Wow.
Christ.
No,
I don't want to see this now.
Was he on OxyContin too?
He must have been. It was just ill-advised from the beginning, like bombaroo, lousy all around.
And then ironically, Stephen King ended up running over William Goldman with a car, which is really bizarre.
A lot of vehicular violence here.
Oh my God!
This movie was 2003, and Kasdan's career has never really recuperated since then. I mean, he did a pass on The Force Awakens. He's done other things, but he's never done another big budget Hollywood movie.
It's like one of those careers that just kind of runs out of gas.
Yeah.
Or maybe he was embarrassed. Maybe I get it.
I mean,
but his career, look at it, his Grand Canyon. I mean, his filmography is amazing.
He's done fine.
It is. It really is.
Silverado, he did the Accidental Tourist. I mean, all those things.
He had
did fine.
integrity, and he lost it. And that movie, he jumped the shark.
Well, that's one. I mean, everybody's got one of those in their career or more.
Jeez.
Yeah, some of us have more.
But yeah, Dreamcatcher, not good.
I have an alien.
All right.
Go.
Yeah.
A worst alien.
The Coneheads.
Interesting.
I like the Coneheads, though. I like the Coneheads, and I actually like the movie Coneheads movie more.
Have you seen the movie?
No, I just wanted to bring up. I thought it was bringing into another sort of weird genre of aliens.
Yeah.
Ones that come from sketches, comedy sketches.
Yeah, but they're
I could see the Coneheads being like sort of along the lines of Larry being angry at the Groovy Ghoulies. This could be like, oh, you're making fun of science fiction, and so I could see people having.
I like the Coneheads. The problem with SNL is that they always burn everything. They burn it to the ground,
Yeah.
And also
it doesn't
the
matter
sheer
if you
amount
like
of food
the
that they would
Coneheads,
eat.
but then they put them on every week, and then you go, now I don't like the Coneheads. I think that's probably what happens.
Sue, it's funny. The Coneheads movie came out a while later, and
way later.
I think a lot of people thought, you know what, it's been done. But I think we talked about this before, Sean. You
it was just on our Arenas episode. When we actually go to the Conehead planet.
I liked it.
Yeah, the movie is fun and it's so chock full of great comic actors. It's actually really fun.
Oh, I mean, I was being sort of facetious about the
Yeah,
whole.
no, I know what you mean though. Yeah,
I just thought I'd throw the Coneheads into the mix.
of
But
course,
Sue,
sure.
Sue, if we're talking comedy aliens, I
Yeah.
want to know from the group here, what do you guys think about Alf? Have any of you ever liked Alf?
I
Okay.
really watched it, to be honest.
See, okay,
I
it's
do have
kind of
an opinion about this.
okay. It's kind of like this, Matt. I'll just throw it out. It's like I like the science fiction stuff, but I've never seen an episode of shoot, I don't even remember the name of it.
Alf.
The Big
Well,
Bang.
that's because you've
No,
never
no,
seen it.
No, The Big Bang. So I never
okay.
watched it. Okay, because even though it's like, oh, but Larry, it's they talk about nerds and stuff, and it's almost like I didn't want to be made fun of. With
The
Alf,
Big Bang Theory you're talking about.
yeah, the Big Bang thing, and with Alf, it was the same thing. I felt like they're using this Muppet character to kind of make fun of science fiction. So I actually never watched an episode. I don't have an Alf figure. I know who he is because you always see promos, but I never watched the show.
Yeah, and you're always hanging around. You just see him like at Pinkberry. The Alf. I don't think he's making fun of science fiction or anything. It's just basically it's a joke machine.
Yeah.
So he's a Borscht Belt comic and he's a puppet.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I'd say I liked Alf. If I didn't watch the show, I mean, I think I've seen a couple episodes, but at least it's better than when they make kids the comics. Like, they're the kids in the
I
family.
agree.
All of
Yes.
us are like the joke meisters. Well, okay, let's put up all those jokes in the puppet's mouth. And that
Right.
I
Is
see.
better. That is better, yes.
Also,
Like instead of different strokes, you got Alf. It's an
Yeah.
Alf is-
instead of having the most precocious child who's making jokes
Right.
at their parents, now it's Alf and he's always right behind the couch. So the puppeteers
Right.
could be there.
Right.
Yeah,
Now
yeah.
has had amazing longevity too. It kind of came back, and
Yeah,
they made a movie.
animated series.
all the time. Yeah, I mean he's kind
Who
of
made
still
that?
around. Yeah, I don't know, but like
They made
yeah,
an Alf movie.
I think they did, didn't they?
Did
Maybe it was
they?
a TV movie, but I mean, I think it rebooted it, though. I thought or something. I don't
Wow.
know. I think it's still kind of relevant in some ways. But I've never been into Alf.
It's
I gotta
retro.
Is it,
It's
Sean?
retro. And NECA, the toy company, is coming out with all these deluxe Alf figures and the Comic-Con exclusives. Get Alf with
Wow.
a Hawaiian shirt. It's like, okay, well, I guess it's for our generation, those who love
Yeah.
Alf and remember Alf fondly.
Here,
Would you go to an Alf panel?
No.
Oh, I'm there. Are you kidding
in,
me?
in, in Hall
I would.
H.
I'd go like I gotta see one, who goes to this?
Yeah,
Two, how are they setting up the puppet?
yeah.
Right. I think there's a lot of questions to be answered on the Alf panel.
If there is,
And I want them answered by Alf, though. I don't want the actor who played Alf. I want Alf.
No, you can't do that because that's like, the actor who plays it and does the voice and stuff. That's like he's performing. So it's like, hey,
Right.
man, you got to pay me to do that. And if the studio's
yeah.
not going to pay him to make an appearance, then screw that. No Alf.
Well, they
Well,
could
I'm
get-
just
they could get
saying
Wally
the
Winger to
studio
do
would
it.
pay for it.
right.
Well,
The assumption
Well-
is he's going to be there.
Right.
Yeah, for promotional purposes.
If I was going to Comic-Con and there was a Mac and Me panel that I really wanted to see, and the panel before it was Alf, I'd go to the Alf panel and stay then for Mac and Me.
Okay.
I like the way you think. And because then as the people are shifting in and out, you just sort of move up in your seat.
Exactly. Get a front row seat for Mac and Me. Right.
Hey, can I sit where you're sitting? You're leaving, right? You're not staying for the Mac and Me. Okay.
Right.
Thanks,
Exactly.
man.
You'll be sitting next to Paul Rudd.
Right. Exactly.
Or
Right.
Matt, it would be like when we went to the Star Convention and you made me laugh very hard about something that while William Shatner was talking, and these people were maybe a row ahead of us, and
Oh,
over to
right.
the right, all dressed as Klingons, and they just turned around to us and went,
Wow.
I remember
which, of
that.
course, oh,
I remember that we were sitting there and I was actually like your Star Trek convention whisperer because I was saying like, all right, this is what's going to happen now. Shatner's going to come out and he's going to make a reference to something in Star Trek to the audience. So he'll say like, "Oh, hey, I see all you guys from Delta, there." He'll make some sort of reference,
Yeah.
And he comes out and he goes, "Oh, and it's great to see all you people. And then you people in the balcony in the Gamma Quadrant."
Oh, it was exactly what it was. But I think that was the guy who plays the lead Ferengi was the one who came out and started saying that or whatever.
Wow.
It might have been, yeah.
We got yelled at by Klingons.
We did, yes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
No, but Sue, let's face you're a Star Trek fan. You consider yourself a Trekkie, don't you?
I don't know what that yes, I liked the original Star Trek.
But she's not you're not gonna go.
I've never watched any of Deep Space Nine or any of the newer ones. It was
Next
Star Trek
Generation.
and the Next Generation of the two that I watched.
Where's that
And I liked
crossover?
them. Yeah, definitely.
Where's the Alf crossover with that? Because that would be
really.
Hey, can I just say something about Alf? I watched a couple of those. The problem I had with Alf, I didn't really like the character. I didn't find that character charming in any way. Jokes were fine for that kind of show, sure.
Right.
They weren't really speaking to me, but okay, whatever. I'm not necessarily the audience. But also I just felt that the alien, the design of Alf was repugnant. Like it looked like a warthog with fur, and it just nothing
was
about
like,
it.
an anteater that had his nose smashed in.
Yes, yeah.
But the reason why he was so
properly.
annoying, he was like a borscht. It was basically like spending a half an hour with a road comic. Your opening act.
Yeah. The guy that will never stop. Like
the guy that wakes up in the comedy condo. It's like, right.
Man,
I
feel like
kill
now,
myself.
Now I feel like we have to mention Mork. Mork and Mindy.
Oh yeah.
But wait a minute. The worst alien.
Mork's an alien.
I'm not necessarily saying worst alien, but to me,
well, then bring it up.
Because we're talking about television alien parodies, and Mork is just one of the most important ones. The big takeaway for me of Mork and Mindy that's the most, for me, like disturbing or inconsistent is it was a spinoff from Happy Days, which was supposed to take place in 1959 at the latest. And then Mork and Mindy is 20 years later. It's like, how does this connect?
It's so weird.
Because he's an alien. He goes back to outer space. He goes to his planet and he's sent back. He doesn't age because he's an alien.
But wait a minute. Did Fonzie ever show up on Mork and Mindy?
No.
Okay.
No, Mork showed up
on Happy Days.
Right.
Yeah. See, my thing with Mork and Mindy is, and we all love Robin, and I thought he did a good job, obviously, with taking that role and making it, spark.
But,
yeah, I mean, I admire what he did. My only problem, because Mork almost made my list, because the thing with Mork was, after you watch like 5 episodes, that character can wear on you.
Yeah. See, I think you're looking at it from a 2024 view. I would remind people that
I'm talking about when I watched it. That's my reaction of that was when I would watch it as whatever age I was. That I remember watching it and then going like, this is kind of exhausting. And I loved it. There's only so much of this. Like, I feel like this should be a guest star running the whole show. It's too much. And that's not taking away in any way from Robin Williams' talent. The fact that he could do that and put so much energy into that character week after week is pretty amazing.
Yeah, but I think the show wore out its welcome after a while. Although for me, there was the great eye candy of Pam Dauber. I kind of watched it as much for her, to be honest.
She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
What was that series that was the guys were lizard people that
V.
Yeah, I like those aliens.
But I thought that was cool. I thought
those were really cool.
They were cool.
Great.
Yeah, that's for our cool aliens episode.
Yeah.
And the uniforms. What about the Alien and Enemy Mine? Which
that was cool.
That's a cool one too.
That's another cool one too.
Yeah. Okay, well, I have one though for another worst alien. I'm going to go back to another ET ripoff.
Okay.
One of the strangest ones. This is quick to rip off Alien because this came out in 1983. This is a bizarre Spanish-French co-production called Extraterrestrial Visitors, also known more commonly as Pod People, because it was parodied on Mystery Science Theater. And this is a bizarre movie about these little furry snorkel-nosed aliens who land in a forest, and one of the aliens is befriended by a kid. Meanwhile, there's these poachers going after them. And there's also, remember, this is like a Spanish director in the 80s making this. There's also this group of hip teenagers in a rock band, and who perform the most god-awful songs you've ever heard. But the alien, the little kid, takes the alien into his house, and he's keeping it a secret from his parents, and he names it Trumpy. And the little Trumpy has a snorkel.
Okay, all right. I don't want to go down this path. I mean, we're all worried.
Too soon. Way too soon.
It's the movie.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry.
Because it has this
I got
snorkel.
nervous.
This is 1983. Okay. So it's this little furry alien, and it kind of sucks up peanuts, in a snorkel. But the movie was made, it started to be made as a scary horror alien invasion movie, but it was being made at the time that E.T. suddenly came out. So the producers quickly made it into an adorable family film like E.T. So it's like this bizarre juxtaposition of kind of scary stuff and adorable kid stuff with an alien. And it's so bizarre and so strange. And of course, it came out in Blu-ray by a company called Severin, and they put out a plush doll of Trumpy, which of course I had to get. And so
Listeners, oh my gosh. Sean is holding up his plushie.
Films, and it's pretty amazing. The movie is definitely worth checking out. It's so bizarre. Actually, if you want to, watch the Mystery Science Theater version of it called Pod People. It's one of the most hilarious.
Would you hold up your doll again?
Yeah, can I see it again?
Oh, that's cute.
Look at it.
I have to see this now.
Yeah, you have to see it.
He's very Womble-esque.
Yeah, actually a little bit elf-like, to be honest.
Yeah, the snout.
But
I love the fact that all you men are just so comfortable with your dolls.
Yeah, we do. We play dollies.
You like
we
dollies?
say action figures.
No, I play.
That wasn't an action figure. That was a plushie toy.
Yeah,
yes, a plushie. A plushie
dolly toy.
My ET ripoff made in Spain. I mean, come on.
Well,
awesome.
okay.
With my Star Trek figures, I will change their diapers.
Okay, well, Sean, since you mentioned Spain, I have to piggyback and bring up a movie made in 1987 called The Falling, and released as Alien Predator. And this was also released as Mutant 2, which had no relation to Mutant, apparently.
No.
And this was directed by a director named Darren Sarafian, who had made a few very, very low budget movies. His best known one is Terminal Velocity with Charlie Sheen that he did later. But this was back when Skylab was a thing back in the 80s, and produced in Spain. Apparently they had money there. And it has like 3 20-somethings played by Dennis Christopher from Breaking Away, Lynn Holly Johnson from Ice Castles and For Your Eyes Only, and Martin Hewitt, who had only been in Endless Love, and then he disappeared. And they're driving an RV around Europe, and then they drive into the town where Skylab has crashed in Spain. And what they don't realize is that the crash has released an alien parasite, microbes, that create flesh-eating mutations out of everything that they infect, humans and animals.
Right.
It sounds kind of good.
I have this movie on DVD. It's kind of cool.
I'm sure you do. And the thing is, it's not in and of itself. I actually think it's worth checking out. And a pretty bad VHS is available on YouTube. It's also interesting to see Dennis Christopher, who didn't do a whole lot.
Yeah,
in the
and it's
80s.
played very straight.
Played very straight, and there's actually a reference. Early on in the movie, Dennis Christopher does this James Cagney White Heat dance, and his friend says, "Oh, it's nothing new. He does it all the time," which is a direct reference to Fade to Black, where Dennis Christopher did that in that movie.
Oh, yeah.
That's going deep.
And Martin Hewitt often does his Rod Serling imitation. narrating it as a Twilight Zone. So it's cute. Lynn Holly Johnson is really cute in it. And it's just a throwaway, very low budget sci-fi movie from the 80s. But the alien finally does show up at the end in its original form, not just as an infected human mutant. And it looks like a chest burster with spider legs attached to it.
Yeah.
And it looks like I would have expected it to be stop motion, but it looks instead like it's radio controlled. And the thing is not very big. So spoiler, they just run over the thing in their RV at the end of the movie. But worth a quick look on YouTube anyway. And this is again Alien Predator, aka The Falling from 1987.
Yeah, good choice.
Sue?
I was going to mention the aliens in Space Jam. It's animation, it's a dumb movie, but they put aliens in it and they're all overdrawn and, aliens. They play basketball.
Well, the greatest basketball player of all time.
Well, we'll talk.
What's basketball?
Michael Jordan, hello. Air Jordan.
The thing that happens during this discussion, it always brings up all you're like, you say one and then you go, oh, that, and then your mind just goes, that was a great one. And I was just thinking about one of my favorites that I loved, which was in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And talk about kind of low budget alien costumes, but they really did that robot that Alan Rickman voices, the depressed robot.
Terrific. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they did a TV series, like a BBC TV miniseries that was kind of like classic Doctor Who budget.
Yeah.
And
I'm talking about the film where, he's like, oh, I'm so depressed.
Yeah, he's great. He's great.
It's great.
Well, and then Doctor Who. There's plenty of aliens to choose from there. But there was one that is it was like the last Doctor of the first British television run, Sylvester McCoy. And the episode was called The Happiness Patrol. And so I won't get into all the details of what the story is, but basically the character I'm going to discuss is not necessarily, it's sort of an alien because all this takes place on a human colony in space. So on this colony, there's this woman who is running the planet, and her goal is that everyone's going to be happy all the time. And so she has these like happiness guards that will come after you. And there's this one character that was made from the mind of some scientist and merged with this technology to make this creature called the Candyman. And the Candyman is more like a robot, but it is the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen, because the Candyman is this thing that will go after you, and it's supposed to be scary, but it's made of candy. So its face is like little drops and all these kind of chews. And so the whole thing is just this candy monster that's just rolling at you. And so, not surprisingly, the show kind of wrapped up pretty soon after that and was off the air for a while. But the Candyman.
Matt,
wow.
Really? Speaking of Doctor Who, the newest Doctor Who season, the new Doctor, the first episode featured one of the worst alien antagonists also I've ever seen in Doctor Who, and I've watched a lot of Doctor Who. And it was the first episode of the new Doctor, and it was these time-traveling alien goblins that create bad luck for people, and they travel around in a floating pirate ship.
Yeah,
and they steal human babies on Christmas. And
it's terrible.
It sounds just as awful and as ridiculous as I just explained. And the episode's just awful. Like Doctor Who and his companions sing and dance, and it's absolutely taking off Doctor Who now. I'm not even interested in this new season.
No,
so terrible.
And I had a lot of respect for Russell T Davies, who restarted the whole Doctor Who show.
Are you guys, I look at you guys as you guys are Doctor Who fans. Are you saying that the creators of Doctor Who or the stewards of Doctor Who have made people who were fans hate the show? Is that what's happening?
Say yes.
For a certain generation of fans, look, I guess it's that kind of thing, Matt, where it's like the new Doctor Who is not for me. It's just not
for you.
Yeah, me neither.
I understand.
Generation, there's a group of fans that like that. not for me.
It's more fantasy based. It's less
Yeah.
science, that bothers me. And Russell T Davis, who restarted the whole Doctor Who thing, which has done a great job in the past.
Yeah.
But there were little moments where you could go like, oh, he can go too far. There's a type of humor sometimes that he likes. Like there was an alien in the Christopher Eccleston, the first season with him, called the Slitheen. And there are these weird green, chubby little aliens, and they wear human suits that they squeeze into, and they're always farting, and it's supposed to be this hilarious thing. Right?
Exactly.
Right? They fart. They fart.
Farting?
Yes, they're farting aliens.
Oh,
yeah.
Finally a joke.
Because they're in the suit, and then the suit, whenever they have any kind of thing, and it goes through the suit, so it's even a louder fart.
Oh my gosh, I can't even take it.
You have to read the book. Oh, good.
Yeah, pretty bad.
I thought you guys would be. I mean, you guys have some depth of knowledge of these old movies. They're like, like the robot. There's like the guy that's a human that's just got a robot head, or
Robot Monster, where it's the gorilla costume.
Yeah,
that's a classic.
Yeah.
But this is like when just kind of going back to some of our Star Trek things. Those aren't worst alien. It's interesting that there are things that are sort of campy and weird and stupid, but you like them.
Yes,
and you like them in the context and the creative space that they're in.
Right.
That's true.
If you put it, it's like, oh, what's worst alien? Well, you could say that. Well, they just stuck a thing on their head and this, or whatever. But for some reason, it's just
it works.
Fantastic.
It's charming.
Yeah,
I mean,
you're right.
and like there are things that we're talking about in Star Trek, but it's great. We just it's the Greek gods, and they're gonna hold the ship with their hand. It's stupid, but I liked it.
Suspension of disbelief.
Sure.
You have
it's
to
completely, and so it's the idea of worst alien is just. I kind of like all of them in a weird way. It's even like when we're the ones we're talking about. I kind of go, I think that was interesting.
Well, right, yeah.
Also,
I mean,
as time passes, time is kinder to these things. Back
That's
in the
true.
day, like, oh, this is a piece of shit. 30 years later, it's like, oh, this is gold.
Yeah.
Sure. In some cases, I think
although there are some, like even in the 50s, where even though the suit, the alien costume might be a little primitive because of what they had, their budget and what have you, but there are some where it just, even that goes a little too far. Like there's one movie that I could never really get my head around, and to this day, I just don't like the aliens, and they're silly looking, but I don't find it charming. And there's a movie called Killers from Space. And I know you guys know it. And so there's these aliens, and they're dressed in like a velour, almost like a sleeper. And then they have a big belt. And then for their eyes,
they got big eyes.
Big eyes, exactly. And I can't do it. I can't do it. I don't know why it's that one, but
they kind of look like members of Mummenschanz.
Right, or the next evolution of what Devo would have done with their
exactly. Or if Simon and Garfunkel were aliens with their turtlenecks on their album cover.
Oh my God, listeners! Sean has gone to a shelf. He has pulled out the figure from the film.
Oh my me!
That is fantastic.
No, I'm upset now. You've upset me.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
I realize we could just go on. We could just go on and on, couldn't we?
Yes, we did.
Sure.
Well, you know what? The best thing for me is that I don't have to edit this.
I do.
Yeah.
But this was great. And we covered a lot of space, even though there was a lot of Star Trek and Star Wars, but there's so much Star Trek and Star Wars, and it's so relevant. Yeah. So it's not surprising. But we could do a whole nother episode of this
easily, Matt. Easily.
Yeah.
And Sue, I want to thank you so much for being with us.
My pleasure.
And Sue has what looks like a Stretch Armstrong.
A mini Stretch Armstrong.
Of course. I have action figures too.
So I'm going to ask what Larry would ask. Is that vintage?
I wasn't going to say that. Come on.
If it was
Cut me a little
vintage,
slack.
I would have given it to Matt in the packaging.
No, because if it was vintage, she wouldn't be able to pull it apart because the material instead of syrup inside would have gotten hard.
He's right. He's right. In fact, do you know this? Do you know that? So in Stretch Armstrong, in the toy line, he had a nemesis that was an alien.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And the alien is so rare, and because Stretch Armstrong would decay because it's rubber and the stuff inside would crystallize and everything.
Yes.
This can go for like thousands of dollars, just the head.
Just the head.
Really?
Yes.
Yes. I had the Stretch Monster head. I didn't have the Stretch Alien head.
Wow.
I had the Stretch Monster head. And
what'd you sell it for?
You know, it was like $75.
Wow.
Do you bought it for that much?
No, I sold it.
Recently?
No, this is a while ago.
Oh, okay. Because that thing is going for a lot of money now.
Yeah, well, I know, Matt. I'm a loser because I didn't sell it recently.
Larry,
I should have sold it when I did.
We've all been there. We've all done it.
Nobody.
I believe me. I have nightmares about the things I sold that I wish like. Yeah.
And the nature of those toys, obviously, they were made to be stretched forever by little kids. So
they were made to be destroyed.
But you know, I will say this: if you're listening now, you know, I'm sure we'll be talking more toy stuff at the next episode, which is going to be featuring Comic-Con stuff because there's going to be a lot of cool toys there.
Yes, yeah, we're going to be at Comic-Con.
Worst Aliens. This has been fun.
A delight.
Great.
Yes.
And
just like Sue Murphy, who is a delight.
That's right.
Thank you so much for being with us, Sue.
Thank you very much for inviting me. One of the things that I've really enjoyed about tonight's conversation is that Sean is working under the name Gina in
yes.
his Zoom.
I'm using my wife's computer tonight. So,
yes. And so it was a real pleasure to have Gina on the show.
Yeah.
I like Gina. I like Gina a little bit more.
I love Gina a lot. I thought Gina brought a lot to the program.
There's some vulnerability, you know, there's a
and
perspicaciousness.
One of the other things I love about, I mean, I do miss when we actually are in the same place at the same time.
I agree. We have to do that.
But I'm familiar with Matt's house and his collection that goes on and on and on. But to see Gina's / Sean's collection behind him, and the fact that you just go right when we just talk about something, it's so in your mind exactly where it is. He just turns.
Oh, yeah.
He looks to me what I would take. It would take me 8 years to find something in that wall, and he just turns around and goes, "And this is this,
right?
And it's 5 inches tall, and it's in the middle of a billion of them."
And he doesn't even look. He just
reaches back. Yeah, there it is. It's right here. It was dusted this morning, and also to see James' collection behind. I know that you're hiding yours, Larry. So just don't know why.
I live in a black
protection
void.
Program.
Black void.
But it's really, I love coming on and seeing you guys, and I really appreciate it. It's really fun.
Seeing you, Sue.
We adore you, and let's do this again soon.
I've never been to Comic-Con, by the way.
Go some year.
I think you would enjoy a day of it. I think you would have a good time because it is just a massive.
There's a lot of people there. Do you think Sue would like that?
If you could be helicoptered in and out, it would be perfect.
Listen, I don't. It's not about that. Yeah, to me, I think I might have like the way everyone's selling everything might be a thing.
Yeah. And the best part of Comic-Con, though, is at the end of the day, we all come back to one hotel room and drink and smoke reefers and talk about toys.
Reefers?
Not everyone is.
The cool kids do.
Yeah.
Larry is, he hides in the bathroom with his Bible. And,
okay. See, now this is how rumors get started, and that's not true. I'll have
that's not true. That's not true. No, it's a weekly reader.
When is Comic-Con? When is it?
Next weekend.
Oh, really?
Well, when this drops, I mean, it's usually around the end of July.
Actually, yes. When this podcast drops, Comic-Con will be coming up in just a couple of days.
Well, we have to go sometime. We have to make that. We have to work
We're
that
gonna make
out.
that happen soon.
Okay,
We're gonna work
Matt,
something
I'll
out.
go with you anywhere, Matt. We'll go.
You would have a
we'll
great.
make
We
something
we
fun.
would have the best time.
Oh,
It would
Seriously.
be great.
Yeah,
It'd be
that'd
great.
be awesome.
All right. I'm gonna work
Okay.
on it.
Well,
Thanks again,
thanks, you
Sue.
guys. I really appreciate the invitation.
You
Fantastic.
got it.
Have an amazing Comic-Con.
Thank you.
Woo.
Next year.
All right.
Time for a listener shout out.
Shout out. It's a shout out.
Shout
from
out.
outer
Alien
space,
shout out.
Space.
And guys, hold on to your
Yes.
tribbles because we have a new review on iTunes.
All right.
No.
Title is If I Was a Carpenter, and it's a 5-star review from TV Expert.
Wow.
Who writes, Dear men of Monster Party, my name is Mark Pitta, and I've been a guest on the show several times. Episodes 47, 183, 212, 225, 242. Topics include cliches, weapons, movie quotes, movie marquee, holiday bash, and so on and on. I recently re-listened to a random episode with Greg Proops on delinquents and hooligans. So my question is, has Larry finally seen Near Dark?
Ooh, good question.
Also, I am a Patreon member now, but could not find the John Carpenter video you spoke of in that episode.
Okay.
Thank you, and remember, it's just a puzzle box. Signed, Mark Pitta, parentheses, Tonight Show.
Oh my God.
God, I love him.
He's great.
He really does bring us a smile to my face. All right. Well, first question, Larry, have you seen Near Dark?
No.
Oh, well, we can fix that.
But this is what you don't know, Matt.
All right.
What you don't know is, some listeners know this. Sometimes Matt and his lovely wife have to go jet setting and go out of town. And they ask me to come over and watch the cat.
That's true.
And
yes.
take care of the cat.
He's a saint.
Yeah, the cat is a saint. And
you are a saint, but yes, that's true as well.
Well, thank you. I was talking to the cat, and I noticed some DVDs, and I thought to myself, Matt, I think it's time for me to watch The Human Centipede with you, and Near Dark is another one. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm gonna let Matt know, and I thought I could come over. We could watch it together.
We have to do that.
Nice,
Yes.
Something.
Yes.
And
yes.
Yeah, I think
think James should come over, and we should also do Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I think that would be a hoot.
No, come on, man. Just look, I'm saying that I'm ready to watch it. I don't want to pollute, my Chitty Chitty Bang Bang thoughts by watching.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay. All right. That's fair enough. But I also want you to know, Larry, that whenever you're over, if you see any video that you would like to take home, just take it. Like you already have permission.
Oh, I can't. No, I can't do that.
No, I'm giving you permission. You can just do that.
I don't know if I could do that, but
okay.
The cat watches. Right. The cat watches me.
The cat's not judging you in any way. The cat's 18 years old. The cat's constantly going, where am I?
But the point is, Near is on my list along with Human Centipede. I thought this was a big thing, a big step.
No, it's great. It's great. And I'm looking forward to this. We have to do it.
We'll make this happen.
Yes.
And Larry, you can enjoy it with some reefer.
Don't. Okay, guys, don't push. No pushing pressure. Look, I've done
no
so
pressure,
far.
No pressure. You can have
hey, Larry, try this pasta sauce.
And on the other matter that Mark brought up, I believe we were talking about the John Carpenter shout out that infamously you guys had him do at Golden Apple Comics when he did a signing.
Right.
And we mentioned probably that we were going to put it on our Patreon, but I think that the more likely we had planned to put it on our YouTube channel because we do have some shout outs on our YouTube channel, but I do not believe that is among them. So we must rectify that for the record.
This is true. Yes.
Yeah. So we will post the infamous John Carpenter shout out in its entirety.
It has to be in its entirety. We can't. I think enough time has gone by, and I don't think anybody. It's not like he, it's not this horrible thing. It's just funny because it was awkward and hilarious. And so I think it's perfectly fine to now put that out there, and I want people to see that because it's one of my fondest memories.
Yeah.
Indeed. And Sean, I believe you also have a shout out.
Yes, I do. This shout out goes to April Whitney, who is a publicist at Chronicle Books. And if you guys remember, and Whitney is a fan of the podcast, and she had sent us this awesome like tarot card style deck of cards called the Horror.
Beautiful.
Oracle.
Gorgeous.
And they're kind of like tarot cards, but each card represents a classic horror film, and with a particular theme like love or fate or darkness, and
so cool.
Halloween,
really neat.
The Black Lagoon or The Shining, whatever. Really, really cool deck of cards. And she surprised us by she sent in the mail 4 wall calendars.
Oh wow!
No,
John's showing it to us,
yes,
and it's got some amazing artwork.
Amazing artwork by Ricardo Desenio, and he also did the artwork on the deck of cards.
Yeah, beautiful stuff.
This actually is a 2025 wall calendar, which includes September through December of 2024. And it's the same kind of style artwork, and it's fantastic. And she said
it could almost be a black light poster.
Yeah.
Oh, Matt, yeah.
Sent this to us out of the blue, and it was a great surprise. And I thanked her on Facebook. And again, April, thank you so much. These are awesome. It's classic horror movies wall calendar from Chronicle Books. And I'm going to be passing these out to the guys at Comic-Con when we go. And thank you so much. Thank you for listening to the podcast and supporting us. And I know April's a huge Creature from the Black Lagoon fan. And I think Larry and James, I think you met her one year at Comic-Con, right?
Last year.
We did.
Yeah, we stopped by the booth. Yeah.
Yes. So thanks again. We're going to stop by the Chronicle Books booth this year too at Comic-Con for sure. And they put out great stuff. So check out chroniclebooks.com. They put a lot of kind of pop culture themed books and other types of things like that. And it's great. So thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Wonderful work. And again, the deck of cards is called Horror Oracle.
Yes.
And since then, a Universal's Monster tarot card set has also come out, which is really cool, but not to be confused with the Horror Oracle set that we're actually talking about, because that original artwork is absolutely stunning.
Beautiful.
So we're really excited about that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'd also like to give a shout out to our friend and past guest, Greg Airbar. And Greg, you may recall, was a guest on our Christmas specials episode along with Konstantin Nazar a few years ago.
Yes.
Greg is publishing a new book called Hanna-Barbera, The Recorded History. It's all about the history of Hanna-Barbera children's records.
Oh my God, James, this is so up your alley.
This is so up my alley. And this is kind of a follow-up to another book he did, which I had him autograph that night, about Disney records.
Nice.
And it's wonderful. It's coming out in mid-August from University Press of Mississippi, and it's profusely illustrated, and some of the trivia in it is amazing. Like, as big of a fan as I am of Charlotte's Web, I didn't know that the Brady Kids, for example, had done a cover of that song.
Wow.
So it's like little things like that in the discography. And I don't even have a turntable anymore, but I collect Hanna-Barbera albums because they're so vintage and they're so beautiful. And there's some of them are just so odd that I love that whole subject even more than the Disney records. This book is made for me. And Greg was also kind enough to send us a PDF proof to look at. So I'm so excited about it.
Nice.
So thank you, Greg. Congratulations on this book. It looks wonderful.
We got to get you a record player. You should have a little record player.
I have one, and I've been listening to some of these old records that I have, and it just brought me back. It's terrific.
You know,
you can still get them. You can pick some up at Target.
What I miss about records more than the actual vinyl is the covers, the sleeves.
Yeah.
Most of the contents of the records themselves, the audio, you can find online on like YouTube,
That's true.
Digital files. So I'm in it more now for the ephemera, for the actual
yeah,
cardboard,
Yeah, it goes back to the physical media thing, I mean, like there's something special about it,
It is kind of
Right.
fun though. You have to. I bet you if you had a little record player and you put that needle down,
Yeah.
it would take you somewhere.
Yeah.
I tell you, James, it's an amazing feeling.
Yep.
Little
Nice.
time machine.
Yes.
33 and a third.
And I think it's time for me to make an announcement because I think what I need to do is issue an apology, a retraction of sorts.
You?
Well, yes, and we were all kind of part of it, but I was the ringleader. I got this ball rolling. So our last episode, which was Arenas, which we all had a very good time with.
It was a great episode.
It was
Fun.
a great episode. And during our discussion, we all brought up the Star Trek episode Arena.
Yes.
The Gorn.
Right.
With the Gorn. One of my favorites.
Which was based on a Frederick Brown story also called Arena. Now, here's where I put my foot in it. I then said, well, there's a Outer Limits episode called Fun and Games. And even though people have said, oh, it's not based on the Frederick Brown story Arena, I think it is. I'm sure that it is. And you guys agreed. But you know what happened? I understand what happened. You guys were mesmerized by my charisma. And you just
always am.
Fell in line. But I don't blame you.
Yep.
I take full responsibility. I got this thing going. And then we heard from friend of the show, lovely man, award-winning writer, screenwriter,
guest of the show,
David J. Scow, who is really, I would say, the lead Outer Limits expert out there in the world.
Authority.
Yeah. And he knows everything. And to me, what he says goes. And he contacted me and said, that's not true. That Outer Limits story is not based on the Frederick Brown story. And that's all I needed right there. And so, of course, I run to the episode and I do a little editing. And now everything is fixed because I don't want anybody else in the future who comes to that episode to be confused and go, well, was it? No.
Right.
I fixed it. So everything is set right. But I wanted to come clean because we love David. I love David.
Yes,
we do.
And I respect him so much. And to think that he was even remotely annoyed with me is not a good thing in my world because, I got a little bit of a man crush on him. I'm not going to lie.
Well, and let's face it, I was thrilled that he listened to our episode.
Of course, he listens to a lot of them. And so that's also high praise. But anyway, so I just wanted to throw that out there. And once again, my apologies, David. But I'm also very happy that he was listening and was able to put me straight so I could fix it. And it's one of those things too. And I guess this was kind of a myth that had been floating around. And I don't want to be yet another person perpetuating it. So I was very happy to be able to set things straight. And now, you guys can make fun of me for the rest of the time.
No.
This podcast is
No.
Yeah. And so rub it in my face and go, oh, really? What else do you know about the Outer Limits?
Look,
And,
no, Matt, it's funny. We all know a lot of stuff. We do. Let's face it.
I would like to think so.
Every once in a while, one of us gets caught up in something that was a rumors.
Oh.
And the fact that someone as an expert, David, contact us and let us know, I want to set the record straight. So
Me too. Yes, exactly.
I think that was great. And I have no problem with saying, look, I made a mistake.
Of course. Yeah.
I have no problem with that. And that's
how do you learn? How do you learn if you don't?
Yeah. And Matt, that's what I respect about you and our show.
We're not too proud. We're not too proud to beg, according to Motown. Anyway, thanks again, David. And yes,
keep listening.
And there is nothing wrong with your computer.
And if you really want to get it right, you don't want to be caught without Monster Party merch on your person, such as the Monster Party t-shirt, the Monster Party legendary cap, the Monster Party PPE mask.
Gotta have it.
The Monster Party shot glass. These are beautiful items. And you may ask yourself, well, I didn't even know these things existed because I never listened to the end of the show before. Where can I find these things? Well, the answer is Very easy. You can find them on our eBay store, which is called Monster Party Store, or simply go on eBay and type Monster Party Podcast cap, Monster Party Podcast tee, mask, shot glass, and it will magically come up. And if you purchase merch from our Monster Party store and you happen to be a Patreon member, we will throw in free surprise goodies courtesy of our good friends Jason Lindsay of Biff Bang Pow Toys and Ted Haynes, foam fabber extraordinaire.
That's right.
Yeah. Jason and Ted, two gentlemen who are out of this world in a completely non-embarrassing way.
Jason and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Wow, you are on a roll. You know what? I'm going to switch my man crush.
Yeah, but I don't have the ponytail that David does. So,
well, we can fix that.
So now, I mean, I've been obsessing over how horrible some of these aliens are, and I've completely forgotten what the hell this Patreon thing is all about. So can someone please refresh my memory?
Someone being me.
Please.
So, you know how E.T. claims to be your friend, but only if you're a minor? Well, Monster Party behaves like a non-grooming real friend by using the online platform of Patreon to provide you with bonus Monster Party material. Now, we're talking special exclusive audio episodes, our premium shows like Monster Party Presents, Monster Party Masterpieces, our various Toy Time shows. We've also got our famous Japan Trip Diary, our behind-the-scenes convention footage, and vintage horror and sci-fi fiction edited by our resident Lyscarian, John Bordeaux.
Wow. And, considering the recent Monsterpalooza, there's a plethora of Monsterpalooza coverage.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Great stuff.
And, this sounds really, really exciting. But I got to say, after seeing Sean's Mac and Me figure, I'm saving my pennies because I know that thing wasn't cheap. So I don't think I can afford this bounty. I mean, how much does it cost?
Well, for the price you would pay for the Max Rebo band to stop playing their horrible music for one goddamn minute, you could become a Monster Party patron, and that price is $5. $5 a month.
Wow. Well, I mean, you can't get an official Mac and Me commemorative plate signed by the director for that price.
Wow. Do they make that too?
Are you sure about that?
Three of them.
Yeah, three of them. One just in case.
Okay, well, how does someone sign up?
Well, all you got to do is you go to patreon.com, you go to Monster Party, you click join, you follow the instructions, and next thing you know, you'll be stepping into Eden. Yay, brother.
Well, speaking of stepping into Eden, we are also on social media. We are on the Facebook at Monster Party TV, YouTube at Monster Party TV, Twitter, now known as X, at Monster Party HQ, and Instagram, also Monster Party HQ. And hey, if you want to follow the lead of Mr. Mark Pitta of The Tonight Show fame, please take a moment and write us a review. We would love to hear your thoughts. And yes, we will read it on the air.
And we won't just read your review on the air. We'll switch some of the words around and pitch it as the plot for the next Battlefield Earth film. Hey, you got a shot. On that note, I am Matt Weinhold.
I'm Shawn Sheridan.
I'm Larry Stroth.
And I'm James Gonis.
Keep America strong.
And send us your picks for Worst Alien.
And don't forget Alf's famous catchphrase.
Eat shit and die, Earthlings. Wait a minute. Hold on. See, Larry, you can't speak before the lady allows you to.
Well, I'm just saying that, as we were talking about jacuzzis, you're going to do a lot of walking at Comic-Con.
Yes, that's true. Yes, I will be doing some walking.
And you're going to be, my knees, my legs. And sitting in that
I'm going to be this.
The bubbly water that massages your legs.
Let me explain something to you, Larry. I have a wife who actually massages my feet. Yeah, you heard me.
Okay.
Sue knows.
Okay.
She's seen it.
See, Sue goes away for 20 seconds, and already things are going to hell.
It's all of
I'm
a
just
sudden it's a
saying-
tea party.
You know what it is? It's you don't like to get wet. That's what it is.
I
You
don't.
don't like
you know,
you don't like liquid on your body. is
No,
what it is.
just in my gullet. Just in my insides. Just in my happy place.
Sue,
You
it's
know,
great
Matt-
to see you.
Yes,
Matt,
Sue.
let me just point out, it says that you're recording this, you know?
Yes.
You might
Yes.
not want to.
Well, but you always say that, and we just put it up anyway because
So it's a little kidding
because you know what,
banter. It's a little goofy.
your minor banter is gold.
I forget. Larry always takes me seriously. I have to remember that.
He does. Yes, right.
What?
That's because he's a regular Joe.
You know, I am regular Joe. I'm becoming more and more regular Joe every day. In fact, I'm sure in the next few months.
Yeah, since the last time you've been on our show, Sue, Larry has coined this phrase for himself that he is the regular Joe. He's the guy who goes to the movies and he's just like one of the masses, and he's eating his popcorn. It doesn't matter what, parades before his vision. It could be anything. It doesn't matter. The popcorn is the important thing. Don't bother to write movies. Don't take any film classes.
No.
Don't read. Just fucking shoot something, put it on the screen, and have a snack
waste
bar.
of time.
So is regular Joe is an uneducated member of society?
Yes. Well, no.
Unsophisticated, maybe?
Unsophisticated.
Undiscerning.
Well, that's more on the nose here.
A little education, just not worldly.
All right, Sue. Well, this has been great having you, and
see you later.
We could go on and on.
So Sue, you know what the whole deal is. First of all, we're delighted to have you back.
It's been a while.
We've missed your
been too long.
Your repartee. And you got everyone's clear on the topic, and we're just gonna trash aliens. That's what we're gonna do.
What? Wait, what?
Yes, worst aliens. What did you think? Worst aliens. We are going to trash the aliens we don't like.
Oh, okay.
You're just now figuring out what the topic was.
I thought you were saying the film Aliens by James Cameron.
Yes, you were
trash it.
My God,
wow.
we have to. I need a bouncing ball to get through a conversation with you.
Regular Joe's kind of slow.
Regular Joe is a moving kind of slow at the party. Monster party.
It's the heat.
Is it?
The heat. Apparently,
it's been very hot for the past 47 years, right? All right, we tortured Sue enough. We should probably start the show.
Get to this, yes,
and get right to it.
Sure.
All right, so I'm going to do my little moment of silence. Sue, of course, knows everything about what we're doing here, and we are going to have a great time, everybody. Okay? So, moment of silence. Here we go. Greetings. Oh, great, Larry. What do you want to do now? What are you?
No,
Red? Fucking gaslighting me.
I'm sorry, it's the soda. Moment of silence. Go.
Okay, thank you.
What?
Guys, did I ever tell you there was a creation convention? I think it was right before I started doing stand-up. Before I did stand-up, I would do Shatner impressions at conventions, and I would enter the costume contest. At this convention, one of the judges for the costume contest is Grace Lee Whitney. So,
really?
Yeah. So I'm up there doing my Captain Kirk thing, and I turn to Grace Lee Whitney, who's right off the edge of the stage, and I turn to her and I go, Janice, let's stop pretending, Janice. And I keep coming, and I keep coming closer to her as Bad Kirk. And she is laughing her fucking head off. And she's like, oh my God, what is happening? And we got a nice picture after, so that was nice. But
what a great Matt, you have a photo of that?
She might not be in the picture of me on stage, but I am on stage doing that. And then afterwards, there's a picture with me and her. Yeah, so
that's what I meant.
Yeah,
Man,
I'll show it to you.
That is a wonderful moment.
Yeah.
That is a fantastic.
Yeah, she was very
moment.
sweet. She's very nice lady.